And now I can introduce my dear colleague, Professor Dr. Andreas Sönnichsen. He's a specialist in internal medicine, general practice, and family medicine, university education, medical school in Bloomington, Illinois, in Munich, Germany, professor of primary care and family medicine at Paracelsus Medical University, Salzburg, University of Witten-Herdecke, and the Medical University of Vienna until 2022. Research focus on evidence-based medicine, patient safety and medication safety, former chair of the German Network for Evidence-Based Medicine. Professor Andreas Sönnichsen will expose WHO's total lack of interest in the devastating effects of the mRNA technology, which is still promoted as the #1 global gold standard for all future vaccination campaigns.
Thank you, Maria, for the introduction. Dear members of Parliament, of the European Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, thank you first for giving me the opportunity to speak to you about my concerns regarding WHO and the planned changes of the international health regulations as well as the proposed pandemic treaty. If we consider increasing the influence and power of a person or an institution, we should take a look on the previous performance of this person or institution regarding the tasks we would like to bestow on that institution. So before even starting to think about increasing the World Health Organization's power through new internationally binding health regulations and a pandemic treaty, let us take a look at WHO's performance during the SARS-CoV-2 pandemic. On January 5, 2020, WHO claimed that of December 31st, cases of a, I quote, pneumonia of unknown cause had been reported in Wuhan, China. It states that, I quote, the causal agent has not yet been identified. This obviously was not the truth, as exactly on the same day, on January 5th, 2020, the complete genome sequence of SARS-CoV-2 had already been submitted to the GeneBank genome database of the National Library of Medicine in the United States of America. What a wonder. On January 21st, WHO published a first situation report claiming that the virus had been identified January 7th, amazingly 2 days after submission of the full genome. That's really amazing, isn't it? On January 13, 15, and 20, cases from other regions in China, as well as from Thailand, Japan, and Korea were reported. According to WHO, the genome was available January 12th. 5 days after the supposed discovery of the virus. That's an amazing achievement. On January 16, only 5 days after the supposed discovery of the virus, the German microbiologist Christian Drosten released a press statement that the SARS-CoV-2 PCR test had been developed. Amazingly, the test was developed in a few days, and it was published in January 22nd in the renowned Journal of Eurosurveillance after a peer review of only a single day. I've never got anything published with peer review after a single day. But maybe Drosten is a bit more intelligent than I am. From early data from China, it was suspected that COVID-19 might have a disturbingly high case fatality rate of 5 to 10%, similar to SARS-CoV-1 and MERS. But already in the beginning of February 2020, it was known that this is not the case. The CFR was estimated to be overall 0.15% in mainland China, excluding Wuhan and Hubei, quite similar to the case fatality rate of seasonal influenza. It also became clear already in February 2020 from data from Italy that COVID-19 deaths occur almost exclusively in older people with serious comorbidities. It may be concluded that it was well known in the beginning of March that COVID is at most slightly more dangerous than seasonal influenza. Although the available data did not call for the declaration of an international health emergency of worldwide concern, WHO declared COVID-19 a pandemic, in quotes, on March 11 and recommended lockdowns to flatten the curve and test, I quote it again, thus rapidly increasing the number of cases, again in quotes, including, as we know today, up to 40% asymptomatic carriers or even false positives. Only 1 month later, April 15, the final study protocol for the telescoped phase 2-3 study of the Pfizer vaccine, modified mRNA vaccine, was released, implying that the vaccine was already available at that time, again, incredibly fast. According to the study registration at ClinicalTrials.gov, the international study register, the first patient was vaccinated on April 29, 2020. The inconsistencies between WHO's official statements and the facts, as well as the brevity of the timeline, nurture strong suspicion that the SARS-CoV-2 virus had been known long ago, at least months before this was officially reported, and it must be suspected that the pandemic, in quotes again, has been planned rather than being a natural catastrophe. No matter what was the cause of the virus and its worldwide spread, WHO statements and recommendations lack any epidemiological evidence. Again, without sufficient evidence, the World Health Organization recommended mask wearing, although an update of a Cochrane review, a preprint of which was published April 7, 2020, had just shown that there is no evidence supporting the general use of masks. I quote from this review, compared to no masks, there was no reduction of influenza-like illness cases or influenza for masks in the general population, nor in healthcare workers. WHO continued with non-evidence-based recommendations when the first modified mRNA and vector vaccines received only conditional marketing authorization in the EU, conditional due to a lack of efficacy and safety data after observation times of only several weeks in the phase 3 trials. In conclusion, WHO did an awful job in managing the COVID crisis, with a number of severely detrimental, non-evidence-based recommendations leading to losses in physical and psychological health, loss of lives of many human beings in Europe and throughout the world, as well as to economic, environmental, and societal damage on a scale we have never seen before. Why should we bestow more power and responsibilities to this organization? In conclusion, the World Health Organization is not a trustworthy institution, and we should not give more power to them. Thank you very much.